Matt here, and welcome to another Mob Street video. Now tonight, I'm out here with my 2019 TW200, and I want to talk to you about something that in the TW world is a little controversial. So, before we get into that though, I was looking at my YouTube analytics the other day, and I was noticing that 91% of the people who view my videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're watching this and you aren't subscribed and you enjoy content about the TW200, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and follow along, because so far that's what the majority of the videos that I've done are about, the TW. So anyways, moving into it, as I said, this is, in the TW world, a little controversial. And the thing that, kind of has two different stories, or two different sides to the same story, is the stock front tire on the TW. Now, this tire has earned the nickname Deathwing. And if you look at forums, if you look at some YouTube content, if you look at a whole bunch of different things about the TW200, you will hear about the Deathwing. So I know on Facebook there's a lot of guys and girls who constantly say, hey, what tire should I go with trying to get rid of the Deathwing, or should I swap out the Deathwing, or whatever it may be. You're going to hear about it if you are in the TW world. I kind of have mixed emotions about this. This TW I bought brand new off the showroom floor with less than a mile on it. And right now I'm sitting just under 2,300 miles, and each of those miles have been with the stock front tire. And I kind of have, I don't know, you could say a love-hate relationship with it. And that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about tonight. All right. Now, the stock tire that comes on the TW200 is the Bridgestone Trailwing 31. And it is a 130/80/18 tire size. And the tread pattern isn't that bad. I mean, it's not too narrow between the lugs. It's not too wide between the lugs. It's kind of, I wouldn't say an extreme mixture of street and off-road. I wouldn't say it's a 50-50. I'd probably say it's more a 60-40, maybe a 55-45 between street and dirt. Now, Yamaha, in the owner's manual, has a specific air pressure that they recommend. Now, if you are up to 198 pounds, they recommend that you run 18 psi in the front and 18 psi in the rear. If you are the 198 pounds and above, they recommend that you run 22 psi in the front and 25 psi in the rear. Now, where I'm already over that weight just by myself, I run the 22 in the front and the 25 in the rear. And that's what I've ran since I bought the bike. That way, I know I'm covered. I won't have to adjust the pressure if one of my kids hops on there with me, if I'm carrying a bunch of gear with me, whatever it may be. I'm already at that maximum PSI. If you are looking at performance, if you're riding off-road, some will say, hey, you need to drop that pressure. It's going to give you better grip in the dirt, in the gravel, in those mountainous conditions, whatever it may be. And in all honesty, I think that PSI for your front and your rear need to be experimented with. With that being said, I would say that PSI for the front, if you're riding on the road, you might want that little bit higher PSI. But if you're out, do most of your riding in the dirt, you want to lower that PSI. Now, if you are riding on the road to get to the dirt, what do you do? You know, do you run that higher PSI? Do you run the lower PSI? Do you run somewhere in the middle? That's one thing that I can't necessarily say yes or no to one way or the other, because I think that comes with experience and going out and testing those different pressures to see which one best suits your riding style and the riding conditions that you're in. Now for me, I really like the 22 and the 25 PSI setup for the majority of the riding that I do. Now, I'm not overly aggressive when it comes to riding, and I would say for the most part, the stock front tire on this does fairly well for the riding that I do. Now, I have noticed a few places where it's a little bit sketchy, but as far as just casual riding goes, now my casual riding might differ than other people's casual riding, but just getting on the bike and just putting around, and like I said, not riding too aggressive, not taking corners too hard, not, you know, slamming up trails as fast as the bike can go. These pressure combinations and the tire combinations that the Yamaha recommends for the weight that I am or that I usually have with me do fairly well. So as far as road conditions go, like riding on the road, I really do like the stock front tire on here. I have never felt, whether it be, you know, going in a straight line at 55 miles an hour, or, you know, taking a corner, or actually trying to take a corner a little bit faster, never have I really felt the grip on the front tire wasn't what I wanted it to be, or it didn't do anything that it made me lose trust in it, I'll say. So but again, that's running it at that little bit higher PSI that Yamaha recommends for the weight. So as far as road goes, I really like it. As far as dirt roads go, I've, you know, cruised down the dirt going 25, 30 miles an hour, and the tire feels stable to me. I like how it rides in ruts. I like how it rides just flat out down the, you know, down the dirt road, down the trail, whatever it is. It's not bad. The places that I'm not the biggest fan of it, and it could be, you know, the PSI combo that I'm running with it as well. The places that I'm not the most confident are more of a gravel road or loose dirt, you know, kind of that thick layer of dirt that kind of has the consistency of flour. That kind of dirt, I don't feel like going over 20 miles an hour is really what I want to do. So another place that is kind of a toss-up for me is mud. Now, the back tire, I mean, it just grips. From what I can tell and for what I do, it grips extremely well. And in the mud, I kind of have mixed feelings about the front tire. And I guess I can't really blame it all on the tire, because the mud consistency obviously varies. So there's been some instances where I don't feel very good in the mud, and there's other instances where I felt okay in the mud. There's really a lot of different conditions out here, and I think this is really why the Death Wing is so controversial. But as far as a stock front tire goes, I think it's kind of a jack of all trades. It doesn't do anything extremely well, but it does everything good enough if you understand your riding capabilities and your different conditions that you're riding in. So going back to, you know, the controversial, some say it's great, some say it isn't. But within that, okay, what PSI are you riding the tire at? You know, what are your conditions that you're riding in? And is it properly set up for those things? So I've heard people that have said that the tire is washed out completely from them, and I've heard that other people have put 10,000 miles on the tire with no issues. So it's kind of really hard to say, but for me personally, I would say 95% I am satisfied with this tire. As far as wear on the tire goes, like I said, I've got 2,300 miles on this thing, and I still have plenty of tread on the tire. I have had one instance where I don't know exactly what happened, and we were out riding, and I was going, pretty slow speed, and I turned to look where I was turning to go, and as I turned and looked, the bike just went down. I had no idea what was going on. I was looking the direction I wanted to go. My eyes were not on the ground, and it was just a loose dirt, almost like a sand dirt where I was, and I don't know, like I said, if it was just that or what, but I would say that that is my one main instance with the Deathwing tire. Going along with that, one other place that I'm not the most impressed with the tire is going to be where there's a lot of loose rock. And I'm not talking, little gravel size. I'm talking bigger rocks. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like cobblestones almost. The tire just, it doesn't hold the line that you want it to hold. That's really the only other place that I wasn't overly happy with the tire. However, that being said, just a quick recap. The stock front tire, yes, with how many stories there are out there about the Deathwing, is it something to look into? Sure, it is. But there are so many variables when it comes to tires and the different things that can make it a good ride or a bad ride. There's just so many things that can go into it. So you can't always fault the tire. Because in all honesty, if you look at motorcycle statistics, whether it be dual sport, adventure touring, street bikes, big Harley cruisers, a lot of people will mention tread wear on their tires, and the biggest culprit every single time is proper tire pressure. Before you go and fault the tire, make sure that you're running that tire at the proper PSI. And again, we're given recommendations for a reason from the manufacturer. It's not like the manufacturers just go, oh, well, I think this tire should be good about 30 PSI, or I think this tire should be good about 40. It's not like they just throw those numbers out there for no reason. They test them. They are very aware of the tire compounds that they put on the bikes, and they put specific tires on each bike for a reason. And Yamaha's not the only manufacturer that does that. Each manufacturer does that. Read what the proper recommendations are for the PSI, for the load rating, for everything before you go and fault a tire for being a bad tire. Overall, I'm happy with the stock front tire on the bike. It's done everything that I've wanted it to do so far. There's been, like I said, a few instances where it's a little sketchy, but I've put 2,300 miles on the bike and I've had a good time doing it. I hope you liked it. Hope you found it informative. If there's any questions or comments, make sure to put those down below. And remember, hit like, hit subscribe, follow along, and be ready for the next Mob Street video. We'll leave it there. I'm Matt. This is my 2019 TW200 with just under 2,300 miles on the stock tires. This is Mob Street, and thanks for watching.